Marcia Hickey, the children's librarian, and I'm reviewing for you the summer reading books. And this week I chose the 8th grade nonfiction titles, and they were 2 on the list. So I'm going to review both of them. The first one is Chasing Lincoln's Killer by James Swanson. This is an account of Lincoln's assassination and the hunt for his killer. But what is fascinating was that there was a whole conspiracy around this. And the person that assassinated Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth, was probably the most famous and well-known actor of the time. And that's why partially he got away with it. He knew the play to the second, and he knew the theater, so he knew back ways to get up to the booth and kill Lincoln. But what is unknown is why he went after him. He was a Southerner who hated the fact that Lincoln was going to give voting rights to the blacks and make them citizens. And the actual speech Lincoln did, I'll read an excerpt, is in the book that they talk about it. Lincoln's April 11th speech provoked more violent talk. The president's proposal for limited black citizenship and voting rights enraged the racist author. He couldn't stand that blacks were going to get rights to vote and be a citizen. And so he gets the whole group to arrange to kill not only Lincoln, but the vice president, the secretary of war, the secretary of state, and only 2 of the conspiracies actually they attempt it. One of them decides, no, I'm not going to do this, and instead he goes to a bar and drinks. But it's then afterwards the chase to find these killers, and there were so many close calls. The chapters are short, quick, very exciting, and you just want to keep reading it. So it's a great read to find out the details of the Lincoln assassination. The second book is in a totally different time period. It's the late 1950s and early 1960s. It's the same time period of the story, The Hidden Figures, about the Rockets. But this is about young boys in West Virginia, and it's called Rocket Boys by Homer H. Hickey Jr. He's a teenager living in West Virginia in a totally coal mining town. His dad is a foreman there, and that's all that's expected of him. He's not the greatest of students. He is just going to be a boy who goes to work in the coal mines. But what happens in 1957 is that the Russians launched the first rocket into space, the first satellite, Sputnik. He just becomes fascinated with this. They go outside one evening, the town goes out and they watch for Sputnik to go overhead, and he sees it. He and his whole family see Sputnik. He gets inspired, and he's going to build a rocket. He finds out he's a leader, he inspires other boys, so he gets a group of 6 of them, and they build rocket ship after rocket ship. It's a very humorous memoir. It's laugh out loud funny at times, because one of the rockets, they start closer to home, and the first rocket blows up his mother's prize white picket fence with her roses. And after that, she banishes him. They go further, closer to the mine, and one of the rockets actually gets up like 50 feet, crashes down into his father's offices at the mine while the big shots are visiting. So they go on and on and on. They have many, many rockets, and finally they get to the National Science Fair with his rockets. So here's a picture of the author with he calls his rockets the Auk, after the great Auk that's extinct, and it's the Auk 28 finally. And it's inspired him all of them go on to college. 3 of them become engineers, and he becomes a space engineer at NASA. And in the epilogue at the end, some of his rocket pieces that are in that picture of his science fair finally make it into space on one of the NASA spaceships. A great read. If you're at all interested in that, I encourage you to read this. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your summer reading.